What a dramatic finish at the City ground. Liverpool leave with the 3 points, but they got that late winner, but they looked fatigued, they looked tired, limbs, but still leaving with the 3 points. But let's be honest about it, and here's the truth. Nottingham Forest dominated Liverpool in that first half. And I just want to reference Jamie Carragher here in his breakdown on Sky Sports because he's absolutely 100% correct. Nottingham Forest dominated with that midfield three. It was Sangare holding, it was Gibbs White in the number 10, and then it was Elliot Anderson playing as the number 8. They were strong, they were controlled, they were disciplined, and they were clear in what their role was. In a well-balanced midfield, you want one protecting, you want one progressing, and then you want one going just beyond. And Forest had that, and Liverpool didn't. They kept taking the ball off Liverpool in the middle of the park, and then they just created chance after chance, and that is dominance. Alisson had to save Liverpool repeatedly. They just absolutely dominated Liverpool. And the stats at halftime tell the story. Liverpool had 2 shots. Forest had 12. Yeah, dominance. But in the second half, it was a little bit of a different story, but I don't think it is because of any type of super talk that they had or anything was done differently. In the second half, the tempo of the game shifted, it became a little faster, and the game opened up a little more, and that allowed for individual moments of brilliance. And we saw that with Alexis Mac Allister. And let's talk about that disallowed goal for a moment, because when I saw it, I was not happy with VAR at the time. But now, in retrospect, when I look back at it, they got that call correct, because the laws of the game do state, had that happened anywhere else on the pitch, wouldn't have been a handball. But because the ball goes into goal from that moment, unfortunately, the laws then just say that it can't be a goal. So frustrating, yes, but did they get the call right? Also, yes. So we accept that. But then, moments of individual brilliance, and I think there is what Carragher called a little bit of arrogance from Dominic Saboszlai, and I think it is the correct word to use here. Because if this was last season, Dominic Saboszlai in this area and scenario would have gone for the safer passes. But in this particular moment over here, he backs himself and he says, okay, what I'm going to do here is get this ball into that box after beating my man. And that's exactly what he does. And credit to Virgil van Dijk, who does better here in the disallowed goal movement. Van Dijk found himself in an awkward position, sandwiched between the 2 centre-backs. But in this moment, he breaks away from his marksman over here, heads the ball square across goal. I think that was very intentional. And Mac Allister runs in and finishes saying, hey guys, you may have disallowed that goal before, but here's a legitimate one for you. Boom, in the back of the net. And yes, it was checked for that offside and found that Virgil van Dijk was onside. Legitimate goal and beautifully finished by Mac Allister. Now, still speaking about individual moments of brilliance, I want to pivot to one man that everyone has been talking about. Can we even call him a man? A lad. 17-year-old Rio Ngumoha. Now, I want to wholeheartedly disagree with Arne Slot here, who said in the post-match interview that Rio is lucky to be playing in the Premier League at the age of 17. He doesn't think there's any other 17-year-old who gets to play in the Premier League the way Rio does. He doesn't even think that there's an 18-year-old. And so therefore he says that he is lucky. But I want to counter that by saying it's not luck. Look at Rio over here. Very bold, running at his marksman over here, going at the fullback, not afraid to challenge, to run at him, to beat him, because that's what he can do. That speaks to ability, not to luck. Luck doesn't make you beat your man. Your ability absolutely does. And here's something that we haven't seen any of Liverpool's wingers do this entire season. And Rio Ngumoha comes on and he does that. And those are moments of brilliance. And if the manager is missing that, it means that he's not reading the room. He's not understanding what Rio actually brings to the table. And, you know, just being popular like a Mohamed Salah or a Cody Gakpo, just because they are the bigger names, just because they are more popular and more well-known, doesn't make them better players. They could not do what Rio done. Rio should be looked at and chosen on merit. If we are not choosing players on merit, then we are not doing the correct thing. Then we need to really start questioning whether the manager actually knows and understands the team and the squad that he has. But well done to Rio Ngumoha for doing that, for being brave, for being courageous, and being totally skilled in that moment, showing us why he actually deserves more moments and more minutes than just 13 minutes on the field every time. Because I tell you now, in that 13 moments and minutes, he had done a lot more than any of these other players who repeatedly get chosen. And here's the truth. Liverpool can't rely on 90th minute winners week after week throughout the season. And yes, it is in the club's DNA. And yes, it does break the opposition. And yes, it does give Liverpool the 3 points and the results. But here's the reality. In that first half, Liverpool were nowhere close to playing decent football. They kept losing the ball in transition. There was no midfield dominance and no midfield presence, and the wide players offered absolutely nothing. And getting a late winner, it kind of just masks what that performance actually was, which was terrible, and it doesn't solve the actual issues. Players like Rio Ngumoha need to be starting. But let me know in the comments, am I being disillusioned here? Am I wrong in saying that a player like Mohamed Salah can probably be benched? A Cody Gakpo can be benched. And players like Federico Chiesa should be starting. And Rio Ngumoha should be starting. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on that. Am I correct? Am I wrong? Should they be starting? Who is your man of the match? If I had to call it, it would be Rio Ngumoha for me, even though he's only had that few minutes. Let me know in the comments, and of course, getting a bit crazy here, but smash a like button on this video, hit that subscribe button. We are on our way to 150 subscribers. Hit that bell notification to be notified when we drop new content here on Red Tactics with Neil, because over here, we don't just react, we look deeper.